Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Huntsville podcast, the show that's all about the people, places, and the stories that make this city an amazing place. I'm your host, Carl Thomas, your favorite realtor, singer-songwriter, and all-around Huntsville cheerleader. Each week, we'll be shining a light on the community heroes who make this city tick, having some fun along the way, and sharing a few real estate tips when you least expect it. So whether you've lived in Huntsville your whole life, or you're just thinking about calling Huntsville your new home, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey everybody, thank you so much for being back with us on Big Huntsville Podcast. Today I have a really neat guest. I know this will air later, but this week is actually the week of Thanksgiving. So a lot of what you do at this time of year, beyond trying to get all your work done before the day off comes, is it reminds you to kind of think about what there is to be thankful for. What in life that you are blessed in, and the things in life that you want to slow down and appreciate. And today, because of that, we have a special guest. We have Chad Rodriguez, who is the executive director of First Stop. And I know that you may not know about First Stop because I didn't know about First Stop. But First Stop is a very, very special thing that I want the whole world to know about. So today we're going to talk to Chad about what First Stop is, what they do, what he does there, and then talk about what they've got going on. So Chad, thank you so much for being with us, man. I appreciate it.
No, Carl, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Okay. So first question, just to dive right in, is what is First Stop and what do they do?
So that's one of the biggest questions we get. And I like to tell people what we do and what we don't do, because we're kind of a unique organization. First Stop is the premier nonprofit in town that is totally engaged in supporting the homeless community in Huntsville. Now, I follow that up with what we are is a day center. What we are not is an emergency shelter. There are others of those in town that do that, such as the Salvation Army or the Downtown Rescue Mission. We are strictly a day center. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And on Fridays, we close a little early at 1:30. But we have a wealth of services. We do 2 meals a day. We provide breakfast and lunch 5 days a week for anybody that is homeless. The only requirement we have to come get help at First Stop is that you be homeless and that you be over 19. That's it. That's all the requirements we have to get help here. The other things we do, we have an outreach team that goes out and meets the homeless where they are. They go out in the community. If we get a call that, hey, somebody may be living over here, somebody might be living in their car, or somebody's unhoused, this team's whole goal in life is to go out and meet the homeless where they are, assess their needs, and hopefully get them involved in our other services. That's where everything starts. The next step is our case management. We want everybody to come and get involved in our case management program. And what that does is when they come in, they meet with a case manager and they get an individualized service plan created just for them, because everybody's road into homelessness is unique and everybody's road out of it is going to be unique, because it takes a while to get there. It takes a while to get out of it. But that plan looks at them from a whole person approach and says, all right, they might need substance use disorder counseling. They might need mental health counseling. They might need help with rental assistance, or they might need help getting IDs, or any number of things. And case management focuses on what they need, how we can get it to them, all with the goal of getting them into long-term, stable, independent housing.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And so a ton of services fall under that. We do things like give people a place to get mail so they can have a mailing address, which people don't realize how critical that is. You can't get a bank account without a mailing address. You can't get a job. You can't get benefits. We help people get IDs. This is one of our biggest services that kind of flies under the radar. If somebody comes to us tomorrow and they don't have any ID, people think, oh, that's easy. You just go get a driver's license. Well, think about what it takes to go get a driver's license. You got to have a Social Security card. What does it take to get a Social Security card? You got to have a birth certificate. So it's all of that. We help people get that no matter where they're from. And we've helped people get it from all over the world. So they get IDs, and then we start the process of what else do they need? Like I said, counseling, inpatient, outpatient treatments for substance use or mental health. We have a mental health counselor on site from our great friends at Wellstone. She's here 3 days a week doing intake. We work with them to see what they need to get housed, what benefits they may be eligible for. A lot of people are eligible for benefits and support from government agencies or other organizations that they don't even know about, be it veterans benefits, Social Security benefits, things like SNAP or TANF, other state benefits that they may not even know they are eligible for. So we work with them on that. The next step after that is when they're ready, we have an enrichment program that teaches life skills. We have a lady who runs that. She's a 20 plus year educator veteran from the Los Angeles school system. She's an amazing educator. And we do everything from teach conflict resolution. We teach anger management, HIV and hepatitis prevention. We help people build resumes, teach people how to interview. So we really are prepping them for life post homelessness. And then we do other things with other partner organizations, such as Huntsville Hospital. Once a month, they come in, the mobile medical unit, and makes a clinic out of our office.
Wow.
We have groups like Shower Up that come here and help the homeless get showers, just to make them feel good for a little bit. You don't realize how critical that is, just mentally and physically.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have other groups like Church of the Nativity and Suds and Buds helps them do laundry. So we have a whole quote unquote laundry list of services that we provide. That's what we are. There's nothing else like us from Nashville to Birmingham. We are kind of unique in the area.
Wow. All of that is awesome. That's incredible. So a quick question for folks like me who don't fully understand how somebody would land in a position of being homeless. What do you think leads to homelessness?
You know, like I said, everybody's road into homelessness is different, but we are seeing some common trends. Obviously, mental illness is a big issue in society as a whole, and it does contribute. That's why that is a core tenet of what we have in our case management program and our individualized plan for people. If they have mental health issues, we're going to help them get either inpatient or outpatient treatment. If necessary, we'll help pay for prescriptions, anything they need to help them get on that road. So that's always a driving factor. Substance use disorders obviously is a major societal problem, and we see it every day. So we have a full-time substance use coordinator. Her whole role is to assess, meet with clients, and see what kind of help they need in that arena. That's a common driver for people ending up homeless. Another one are what I call situationally homeless. These are the people who, through no fault of their own, and a lot of times, and sometimes just bad luck, end up being unhoused. And this could be something as simple as a relative dies, an apartment building gets condemned, they lost a job, who knows? Luckily, those are the easiest people for us to assist because they're not that far out of being housed. So we look at each person, but there's another one that's coming up that we are seeing a ton of is evictions. We're seeing this across not just Huntsville, Madison, Morgan County, Limestone. As the cost of living becomes more expensive, we're starting to see people get pushed out of their homes. There was an interesting statistic just put out by the Supreme Court. For every $100 median increase in rent, the risk of homelessness goes up by 9%. That's a scary statistic, because if you think how much rents have went up both nationally and here in Huntsville over the last several years, you can see that threat of homelessness really rises proportionally with it. It's a scary statistic.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty accurate to me. Because, you know, like right now, if you want to go and you want to rent a property where 5 or 6 years ago you could find something for $600 or $700 a month, right now you're spending over $1,000 a month easy, and it's not easy to find something at $1,000. You're going to spend $1,500 to find something that's livable and decent and in an area you want to be in. So I can understand how, if you don't have a lot of income coming in, it would be really easy to just slip right out of the rental market here. But
well, and you know, they say HUD says that the average person should spend no more than 30% of their income on housing. That's a great number, but it's just not realistic anymore.
It's not. No, it's not.
So that combined with rising rents, combined with a lack of subsidized and Section 8 style housing, is really putting a hurting on the lower income and in some cases no income population.
Sure. So the people who come through, are they folks that were born and raised in Huntsville? Like, who are these homeless folks that are coming through your group there?
So that's one of the big changes we've been seeing just in the last several months. Obviously, there's a number of local people. And when I say local, I mean local to the North Alabama area. But what we're starting to see really over the last 2, 3, 4 months is a lot of people from out of town. I hate to say this, Huntsville is kind of getting known as a better place to be homeless than a lot of other cities. Now, that's both a good and a bad thing. The bad part of that is that people are being drawn to Huntsville. Now, I always want people to come to our city because I love our city. I'm from here. But what's happening is they know that, one, the city government, and I have to give props to the city of Huntsville, they are not antagonistic. They're not hostile towards the homeless population. Mayor Battle and his community development group, Scott Irwin and Joy Davis and that team, Loretta Moore, they have been really great in supporting our unhoused population, and they're taking great strides to really take care of them. But with all that being said, there's never enough resources. So as more people come in from out of town, that those resources are being stretched thinner and thinner. But we're seeing people from all over. I've talked to some of our new faces who have shown up recently. I've seen them from as far away as New York, Cincinnati, Kentucky, Georgia, South Alabama, Louisiana. They're coming from everywhere, and everybody's story is just a little bit different. Some of them came here with a girlfriend or a boyfriend and something happened. Some of them came here for a job that might have fallen apart. Some of them came here because they had family. And so it really is kind of all over the place. But there's a large influx right now of new faces, not necessarily from here. I'll give you two scary numbers. We have seen just in the last 2 months here, October and November to date, we have seen almost 300 new clients who have never been to First Stop before. Wow. That right there is a very telling number of how many people, one, have a need in this area, and two, are either newly homeless or from a different area and don't have the resources they need to survive.
Sure. Yeah. So for us Huntsvillians who are driving down the parkway and we get off on that governor's exit and somebody's standing there with the sign and we push the lock button on our car because that's what we automatically
we do.
Are these the same people who are coming through First Stop, or are the First Stop folks more apt to want to try to get out of the lifestyle?
It's a mix. I mean, yes, some of them are our clients, but you're going to see the homeless population seems to come in a mix. There's always going to be what I call the chronically homeless, people who, for whatever reason, can never, or I shouldn't say can never, will never get off the street, either by choice, by situation, by health, by whatever reason. There's the people who want to get out but can't because of either mental health, physical health, or substance use issues. And then there's the people who are actively trying to get out. A lot of those are what I mentioned earlier, the situationally homeless.
Yeah.
So it really is a mixing pot of all that.
Right. Well, and the automatic thought that comes to our mind is we automatically put everybody in the category of the negative side of homeless. Yeah. And that's a problem because it is biblical that we help the poor. It's biblical. It's something that we are supposed to do. And a lot of times we will let our judgment, our better judgment, or our ability to be undeceived by somebody who's trying to come along and take something from us, is we'll put everybody in one category. And that is absolutely wrong. And I want to tell you something. The people that I've met through First Stop who are there, who are down on their luck, the people that I've become friends with that are in that situation, I know for a fact they want out and they are doing everything they can, and you guys are helping them. So,
well, at the end of the day, nobody wants to be homeless.
No,
nobody wants to live that way. But you live on the street long enough, you lose certain social skills, you lose certain life skills, and it becomes safe. I kind of liken it to somebody who's been imprisoned for a long time. You almost become institutionalized into that lifestyle. Yeah. And it's hard to break out because it's scary. We've seen people who get housed who don't know how to handle a bank account, don't know how to clean an apartment properly because they haven't had to for years in some cases.
Right.
So it's a very hard cycle to break. Bad habits can pile up a whole lot easier than good habits.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that get into people who've been unhoused for a long period of time. And, you mentioned it's biblical. It really is. I think it's Matthew where it says, what you do to the least of one of these people, you're doing it to me. It's something Jesus said. And it's never more prevalent and obvious than it is here. People always talk about elderly and children being extremely vulnerable, and they are. This is also one of the most vulnerable parts of our population. And like you said, I was as guilty of it as anybody. You see homeless person, somebody asking for food, asking for money, and you click that lock button.
Yeah.
It's just it's ingrained in us. It's that not in my backyard mindset that even if it's unconscious, it's still there. It's that unconscious bias we have towards a person in that situation, and we're trying to educate people as much as we are help our clients. Is that 99% of our clients, they're good people. I sit and talk to them every day. They're just like you and me.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. Homelessness is closer to a lot of us than we ever realize.
Sure.
It could be your neighbor. It could be your coworker. It could be your family. It could be you. It could be me. It could be any of us. One bad situation, one bad day, one bad month, and it can be on your front doorstep.
Oh, absolutely. I say that all the time that I am so blessed to be where I am, but a couple decisions could have changed the course of my life,
Yeah.
and I could be at first stop needing help. And I'm so glad that it exists for that reason, because I know that when it comes down to it, those of us who are first world, who don't deal with the poverty that these folks do, we totally forget how easy it would be to be there, or we disconnect with the possibility that we could be there. We feel like, oh, well, if they would just work harder, or if they would, they just need a job. They just need to get a job. Well, that some people just don't realize that those folks have tried and life has hit them hard, that maybe they've caught a charge and have something on their record that would stop them from getting a job. That would be so easy to happen to any of us. So I would suggest for those of you out there like me, we need to get out of our head and stop believing that it's easy to get where we are in life. We are blessed to be where we are in life. But those people who are not as blessed, we should do something. So tell me, what can we do to help these folks? What should we do?
So what I always say is, you can hand them money, you can hand them food, whatever. I always recommend that everybody go through an organization, whether it's First Stop, whether it's another organization like the Salvation Army, Rose of Sharon, Manna House, some of the other organizations that target specific niches like Ross or Wellstone or the Catholic Center for Concern. There's a ton of great groups in the area. Get involved. And by that, I don't necessarily mean just write a check. Don't get me wrong. We're a nonprofit. We'll always be happy to take a donation.
Absolutely.
But get involved with time, get involved with money. So one of the things I've been doing lately, when I go to the store, just for grocery shopping, I go to Sam's, go to Costco, whatever, I just start picking up extra things. All right. I'm going to grab an extra bottle of hand sanitizer. I'm going to grab an extra thing of baby wipes. I'm going to grab an extra thing of, whatever. Those little things make a huge difference because supplies are always in short order.
Oh, yeah.
Now I can take money and go buy things, but I've also got, overhead and staff and things just to keep the operation running. Those little supplies that you don't think of, chapstick, sunscreen, bug spray. I'll give it, socks and underwear are a huge one.
Right.
When I go clothes shopping now, grab an extra pack of socks, grab an extra pack of t-shirts, an extra pack of underwear. It's those little things that we take for granted that everybody needs. So I always tell everybody, just get involved some way. Like I said, material, time, or money, however you want to be involved, every little bit helps. People think, oh, well, extra pack of socks, what good is that going to do? Well, that pack of socks is going to be good for 6 people.
Yeah.
That's going to, and a pack of socks, a fresh pair of socks helps somebody physically, helps somebody mentally.
Yes.
That's a big thing. To put on a clean pair of underwear, a clean pair of socks, it changes somebody's mindset just for the day. And that's something that's so important because a lot of our clients, depression comes along with this, mental health issues come along with this. And just to establish that motivation to get up and get help, little things like that can brighten somebody's day and motivate them in ways we can't even comprehend.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. So if we were to get these items as we're shopping, like you suggested, where do we take them to?
Bring them to First Stop. Bring them to the living room. Bring them to Salvation Army, whatever group you want to support.
Sure.
Just bring them. We'll take them all the time. This time of year, obviously, we're moving into winter. Blankets are a big thing. Hand warmers, sleeping bags, tents, tarps, all those little things that people on the street might need for the winter are always in high demand this time of year.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a great idea. So folks, that's what we need to do. We need to grab a couple extra items as we're shopping. It's not that big a deal to do that and take them to First Stop and drop them off. Where is First Stop, by the way?
So First Stop is on Stokes Avenue, which is off of Hall. If you're familiar with the Campus 805 area, we're a block east of there.
Okay.
Just off Hall Avenue, and big new building. We've been here for a year. We've got a great facility. We're easy to see once you get on Hall Avenue, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, and actually that's right off of Clinton Avenue, close to downtown.
Exactly.
And the Parkway. So that's actually really convenient for most of us. So what can we do as society out here to take steps to end homelessness? Is there anything that we can do beyond dropping items off?
So dropping items and things like that are not going to end homelessness. They're going to help support the homeless. As far as the ending homelessness, that's a macro problem. It's a macro idea within society right now. I always joke and say my goal is to put myself out of business.
Sure.
It's a great idea. It's not going to happen, but I like to say it. really, it's one of these things we have to look at. What are basic human rights, basic human necessities, and remembering to support our neighbor, because like I said, it's as close to any of us and closer to a lot of us than we can ever imagine. America is a great country and we are in a great position. And most of us, even on lower income levels, are richer than 90% of the world. We've got air conditioning, we got running water, we got running toilets. We take it for granted.
We do.
So I think as we look in the political world and in the budgetary world and in society as a whole, we need to just be conscious of the decisions we're making and look and see to our leaders and to our government and to our congregations, to our neighbors, to ourselves. Are we making the best decisions for society, for our neighbors, that's going to help get people housed? Because like I said, not everybody can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And if we can provide that help and that road, it's incumbent upon us as people of means to do so.
Sure. Well, and one challenge I would like to make to the public is to get involved by volunteering. I want to tell you something. We get wrapped up in our own lives sometimes, and we totally miss the fact that there's a world around us that's hurting, and we'll see our issues as big things. But I'm telling you, if you go and volunteer at a place like First Stop and you get shoulder to shoulder with some of these people who are truly struggling, number one, you'll realize how blessed you are. But number two, it'll kind of pull you out of yourself. It'll make you realize there's people around us that need help, that are hurting, that are struggling, and we can actually get involved to the point where we're hands-on dealing with those folks. So I want to challenge everybody out there just to do that. Go out and volunteer at like First Stop or some of the other organizations that Chad's mentioned. I think that's really important for us to do in order to remain connected to the world. You get in your own problems sometimes and disconnect from that stuff.
You do, and the world is everybody, not just our clients, but anybody in need, just crying out for love. The world is crying out for it. You touch on something that I always harp on. I think everybody's tired of hearing me say it here, but we give out no matter what else we do here, we're responsible for providing to our clients three things. One is respect. They have none from society and even self-respect. They're in a hard place and we provide them a level of respect. So when you come here and volunteer or work or just even meet some of our clients, a handshake, look them in the eyes and treat them like you would anybody in an office or at church. It provides a amount of respect, which goes into the next thing. We help give them dignity, which is something all of our clients need. It's something everybody needs. It's a basic human need. And we give them, like I said, fresh pair of socks, fresh pair of underwear, a shower, clean set of clothes, a meal, a hot meal, a good meal. I eat lunch here all the time. It's really good, trust me. But it provides them dignity. And that's so important. And all that leads to the third thing is providing them hope. Without hope, they don't want to get out of their situation. Our clients don't have a feeling that anything they do is going to matter. But we help provide them hope through our enrichment programs, our case management programs, our outreach program. All of that helps provide those three things. And those are the three core tenets that I think we have to provide as humans, but also to our neighbors in need.
Yeah, no, actually, we should all take that with us as we go everywhere. I mean, that's amazing.
Exactly.
So what does First Stop have coming up? Is there any events, anything big coming up that we need to know about?
Well, so this is First Stop's season of giving. It's the end of the year. Giving Tuesday is coming up next week. It's the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And that's the biggest donation day of the year for nonprofits. We're running our end of the year season of giving campaign, and we're hoping that everybody, as you know, like we've talked about, as we take stock of what we have and what we're so thankful for, our family, our friends, our houses, our jobs, everything, that we take a minute and decide to contribute back a little bit.
Sure.
So really, that's our big thing going on right now. We've got a tree at the Tinsel Trail. Please feel free to check us out there in the coming weeks. But the season of giving is on us, and that's our big push right now.
Okay. So if folks want to find the organization, where do they go online? Is there a website?
Sure, it definitely is. Check us out at firststop.org, firststop.org, and that tells you all about us. If you want to donate to the Season of Giving campaign, it's there. You can set up one-time donations, regular recurring donations, whatever you want.
That's what I was getting to. I wanted to make sure that everybody knows where to go to actually give, because some of us really don't have time to drop off socks, but we do have time to jump online and do that. Yeah.
Life is busy for everybody. And so we're trying to just make it as easy as possible. I always say if somebody wants to get involved, whether it's time, money, materials, we're going to make it as easy as possible. We've got an Amazon list out there. If you want to order stuff directly, we can do that too.
Yeah.
So again, we're making it as easy as possible.
Well,
so check us out, firststop.org. That's the go-to place for everything.
Firststop.org. Okay. So Chad, man, I want to tell you something. This is very special to me. So I know a lot of folks who have volunteered there. And one of the conversations that we'll have a lot of times is that they might have started volunteering because they were dealing with depression or they were dealing with anxiety. They were dealing with something terrible that was going on in their life. And they volunteered at First Stop. And just that connection to that side of the world took away some of that depression, took away some of that anxiety they were dealing with. It's amazing what that will do. So I also want to encourage everyone, go and volunteer at First Stop, meet Chad, get involved in the side of the city that you may not know that well. Thank you, Chad, for being on today. Dude, this is awesome. I'm so honored to know you, man.
I appreciate it.
What you're doing is really, really great. So folks, get online, go to firststop.org, check out what they've got going on. And we will see you guys next time on Big Huntsville Podcast.
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks for tuning in to the Big Huntsville Podcast. If you've enjoyed the stories, the laughs, and maybe learned a little something new about our amazing city, remember, Huntsville isn't just a place, it's a community. And we've got some of the best folks around. So if you like today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe and share it with a friend. And if you got a local hero or story you think we should highlight, hit me up. I'd love to hear about it. Until next time, I'm Carl Thomas. Keeping it fun, keeping it real, and always keeping it big here in Huntsville. Catch you later.